Speak Ross. Hi, my name is Anna and I am a singer.
Hi, my name is Peyton and I am a dancer.
Oh my gosh. And today, what are we doing today?
Today, we are back with another set of requested reactions, and for the first time in quite a while, we will be reacting to On and Off.
So the two on and off videos we'll be watching today are performance videos of B-side tracks from very, very early years. So the first one is Original, and the second one is Fly Me to the Moon. Let's go?
Yeah, let's go.
What the? I was like, is this their intro?
Effects.
Wow.
I need to rewatch that foot part.
The foot part?
Yeah.
Oh, it's layered in the background. Oh. They always use like a trumpet or a sax, like some sort of horn. I mean, I'm not complaining, I really like it.
I like how they keep doing fast movements and it kind of like comes together like they're building themselves up.
That was pretty.
Oh.
I really like that line in the background. I didn't mention it before. It's like, is it a marimba? I need to figure out exactly which one it is.
Like that part.
Oh, the build up more.
Mm.
What is this reminding me of? It just feels very like summery. Ah. Oh, ande, like blindfold?
This dance has not stopped. I say, of course, right as it gets slower, but like, it still isn't stopping.
They're still moving the whole time. There's no like pose moment.
Mm. Or like just walk around moment. Until right now, of course. Oh, musicality.
I really like how they end that line because it goes like,
Yeah, I have something to talk about there too.
because they're like throwing it up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of general comments about their like style of dancing I've said in other videos, so I don't want to just keep saying the same comments over and over. So I'm just going to point out a couple of things that like really stuck out to me. Honestly, I always talk about their musicality, but I'm going to talk about it again today. It's so interesting because watching this just really proves to me how they've really had great musicality since the beginning, not just in their title tracks that they really work on for a really long time, but just in general. And the example that I wanted to give was the line that we both kept going back to where it feels like they're throwing it up. So as a non-vocalist, it's that line that goes like, duh, and in my head, I see the sound wave as like a zigzag line. That is the way their dancing is too, because if you actually watch what they're doing, they're going up their body and it's going like the sound wave is traveling up their body because they're doing like butterfly legs and then they roll up through their body and they like come together, and so it gives the appearance in their bodies of that kind of like zigzag line. And I was like, that's so cool, because it happens so quickly too that like you really wouldn't have to do that there. You could just like roll up through it, but it's like the added effect of those like little movements in their legs that really stand out for their musicality. And it's distinctly different from the last time they sing that phrase, or like the last phrase of that part where they just throw it straight up and their hands go straight up with it. And I was just like, wow, that really stuck out to me every single time they did it. My other comment was that Anna and I both said this, I think after we stopped recording, but like you can tell that this is early in their careers, because like I said in the reaction, it never stops. And even though they have a lot of dances these days that also don't stop, it's a little bit more laid back and the energy feels a little bit more controlled. But I did think this was really interesting because instead it is not overly cute and like emphasizing youthfulness, because not the maknaes, but like the others were a little bit on the older side when they debuted. So even though it's not emphasizing youthfulness, it's still that like rookie energy that they're emphasizing, and it never stops. And I was like, I'm tired. I would kind of want to see them do this today, to be completely honest, because nowadays their energy is so controlled that when I was watching this, it felt a little bit like not out of control, but a little bit more wild, which goes with like the choreography they're given. But I was like, I wonder how it would be different performing it today. And then my last comment, this is gonna be so embarrassing. My last comment, so I know that he's older than I am, and like they all looked really cute and they looked like young and youthful and everything. But specifically Ishan, I know he's older than I am, but every time he came on screen, I just wanted to be like, oh. So that was my last comment. Anna's turn.
Okay, so for my comments, I'm also not going to say as much, just because like a lot of things about their like singing or like music style I've said in previous on and off reactions before. But anyways, talking about the song, so not gonna lie, at the very beginning the intro of the video confused me at first, because it was showing like just the text with the music. So I thought that the music at the beginning was part of like the intro title video, not part of the song. I don't know, I thought people would have enjoyed that and have a little chuckle. But outside of that, when I think about like the intro part now that I understand that it's part of the song, it's interesting because it's like the vibe that you get from that is a little out of place with like the vibe of the rest of the song, because once all the rest of the instruments come in, it's like very bright. I was saying it felt very summery because they do have a lot of like elements of more tropical songs. Like one thing that I pointed out, I mentioned a marimba, and I'm pretty sure it is marimba that they have playing throughout a lot of the song. The bright tone of that, while also still being like kind of like bouncy, I guess, is very summer. Moving on from the tropical thing, also instrumentally, just like when I think of on and off songs, this was still very in line with that. So like they've had that style from the beginning, because I think of like a crossover and mix between more classical sounds and a lot of like distortions and synths, which is what this was as well, again, because like I mentioned marimba and then the brass, and I get so confused because there are times where I think the brass or the sax in an on and off song is a synth because it sounds really distorted, but then like we'll get a comment that it's like, no, it's the actual instrument, just like when they were editing it, it was they put a lot of distortion on it. So I don't know anymore, but it sounds really synthy, especially because in the chorus, when they use it, they have it re-emphasizing every single beat, and I'm like, you can't get that sound when you're just playing it naturally. So is it a synth, or did they just edit it a lot? And then the last thing that I'm gonna say is vocally, I mean, like I mentioned the background harmonies, they have a lot of those like layers vocally, like doubling or harmonizing. So it was very like in line with what I expected, like the lines that I expected to be highlighted were highlighted. One thing that stuck out to me right away for vowels is just like when MK is singing akawo, instead of wa, it's wa, because it's like very open and it's like leading up into the next section that's coming. So yeah, that's all I had to say. This was nice, very bright. Next.
Yes. So next we will be watching another performance video, and it is Fly Me to the Moon, which came out in 2018.
So not the Frank Sinatra version?
I don't think so.
No, I know it's not. Okay, let's go. Although I would not mind hearing them sing that. Okay, now let's go.
Alright.
Yep, this is part of the song. I know. Thank you.
the moon and all of the O's.
Wow, that's cool. Or it's cute.
Good editing. Oh, I like these outfits.
It feels
I
like outer
love
space,
white
like a
and
space
black.
station. The
That's a very interesting line.
piano. It's piano? No, not piano.
Pink hair.
Oh. This got much brighter than I expected.
When the lights came on.
And there's color.
Yeah. Oh. I know how deep his voice is, and it still takes me off guard sometimes.
I don't know, I just had expected to hear more singing again. Oh, that's cute.
It's really cute.
Ah,
Is that? Yeah, you. Lights on.
ah.
That's interesting. What is this choreography?
Oh.
Theater.
Wow, electric.
Mm.
Oh. Wow, that's pretty. This is really pretty. I was about to say something kind of nerdy. Maybe I'll say it later. if it comes up again. This sounds like another song.
Of theirs?
Yeah. Or the beginning
that
of
was
the section
cool.
did. My mind is blanking right now. But it's one of their title tracks.
네 마음 구석진 자리에 내가 불을 켤 수 있게 보여줘 네 모습을 지금 날아가고 있어 너에게로 에이.
Wow.
There it is.
Wow.
You is such a
Wait,
good
that sax
dancer.
line is awesome. Oh. Oh.
The dancing. Their dance style changed for the sax part too.
Really?
Yeah, it
Did
was
it
much
get
like
jazzier?
jazzier. Yeah.
Oh, the vocal riff just then was
that's really
imitating the
cute.
sax.
Oh, so cute.
Pointing at the moon? Oh, but on off is the moon instead. Wow.
Oh, and then there's an actual.
Oh, okay,
moon.
just kidding. Okay.
So I really liked this one. Like a lot. Okay, so just a couple of things that I wanted to point out. So I said at the very beginning of the reaction, I was like, oh, that's a really interesting line. And it's right at the very beginning of the dance, and they're not in a diagonal, and they're also not in a straight line. It's kind of broken, and it's very interesting because there's also levels to it. And it looks almost wrong. Like, it's not wrong because they would redo the shot if it's not what they wanted, because that's how performance videos work. You can redo it. But it's just really interesting because it makes you pay closer attention to it, because like you can see when we were watching it, I literally leaned in because I was like, what? And I am a sucker for things like that, especially in beginnings, because it catches your eye and it draws you further into it because you're like, wait, what is that? And it's just such a small detail that sounds so weird to get so excited about, but like honestly, I really liked it. So I also said when the saxophone comes in, there's a distinct change in the song, obviously, and also in the dance. And we both were like, it gets jazzier. It really does. It's very like classical jazz style dancing there, especially the second half of that choreography, like dance break. It starts to feel almost like when I imagine my head flappers and swing dancers of like the 1920s. That's the feeling that it gets, like when they're going down to the floor and they're like tapping their feet and stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like watching swing dancers. Like, it's so cool. And then related to that, Yu is just such a great dancer. Like, I feel like I could talk about him for a really, really long time, but he just dances so beyond his age, even back then. And like, he owned that part. The last thing I want to say is, I said in the original reaction, I was like, their energy feels almost wild, like not super controlled. But this is a year later and you can already tell how much they have matured, because this still is upbeat and they're still using a lot of energy. There's a lot of jumping in this song. So you'd think that it would feel like almost you'd have that same sort of wild feeling, but you can see how their energy has controlled. So they're still expending energy, but it's a lot more directed. And I don't know, I think it made me enjoy the dance even more, because it wasn't like an onslaught of energy. It was very controlled when it was being expended. So I really, really liked it. Anna's turn.
Okay, so I like this song lots. So the beginning of the song, there's the synth in the background, but like the song moved on before I got to talk about it. But basically I was saying that it's not the piano that you hear, it's this other line that's playing, and it's playing all the 16th notes. For people who don't know what 16th notes are, saying that the song is in 4/4 time, a quarter note would basically be one beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that's one measure. There are 4 quarter notes in one measure. An eighth note would be dividing that in half. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then 16th note would be dividing it again. So 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, yeah. So one thing, the tone of that synth, it's very high and light and not reverby really, but it feels slightly muffled. So that, along with it playing so many beats, it felt like outer space, like very dreamlike outer space, like you're just floating among the stars. And like it doesn't play throughout the entire song, but like it plays in the beginning, it comes back towards, I think, is it the bridge? I don't remember. I'm sorry. I forgot to write it down. To talk about on and off songs as a whole, one thing that I really appreciate about them is it never feels repetitive. And it never gets boring, because even if there's a section that's repeated, like instrumentally, the verses are usually the same, pre-chorus, chorus, they're usually the same. But in on and off songs, there's always like slight details that make a world of difference though, because it's all in the details. One thing that differentiated the repeated chorus was like the second time they brought in like electric guitar. And like that's one of the more noticeable ones. And then obviously I need to talk about the ending sax solo. Oh my gosh, it was so good! Wow!
I really liked it. I just thought about the fact that there's sax in this, and I really like that there's sax in this because this is complete era, which is like the sax. Oh, I didn't like that connection earlier.
But yeah, it was so good. It made it so jazzy. Peyton already talked about how the dance got jazzier after that too. One thing that I said in the reaction was like, oh, that run riff just imitated the tone of the sax. And I do stand by that comment. After the sax solo ends, there are a few riffs that like ad-libs that they do, and like the tones and obviously like the pitch where it's placed is very reminiscent of the sax solo that just happened. But there's this one specific moment that I am so confused about, and I have bugged Peyton about it too, and I made her listen to it and figure it out with me, but we're still confused. In the performance video, it's at 3 minutes and 21 seconds. And I need to know other people's thoughts too. Is this someone singing, or is it a saxophone? Because when you listen to it, it could be both. Because you can sound that way with your voice. Like, it is possible without having like a synth or without having any sort of effect on it to sound like that. But then when I went back and listened to it during our break, I was like, wait, this sounds really similar to the saxophone. I'm so confused. This is like tearing me apart inside, so if you know the answer, please let me know. But I liked this song as a whole. Alright, I'm done.
I can TLDR.
Okay.
I'm distraught. Okay, TLDR is we reacted to 2 more requested videos of On and Off today after it had been a while since our last one, so I'm like very happy right now. And they were from earlier in their career, but it just proved to us when we were watching it that they started out with a really, really solid foundation, and also that they have come really far. But if you couldn't tell, we both preferred Fly Me to the Moon better.
But that being said, if you enjoyed this reaction video and also really enjoy these songs by On and Off, then please leave a like, comment, subscribe,
Ding!
turn on your notification bell,
Ding!
and bye!
Bye!